Every year, everybody gets mad about 2K ratings, and we got ours that we're going to get mad about or we're going to be happy about. It should be good content. I'm Ryan. He's Swipa. We are reacting to the top 10 players in NBA 2K25. We put them up on screen in the middle here. Nikola Jokic is the top player in the league, according to 2K, although he and Luka Doncic and Giannis Antetokounmpo are technically tied at 97 overall. Swipa, your immediate reaction to seeing this list and seeing where Jokic ranks?
I thought that was such a cop out to tie Jokic with other people. Luka, even though he was injured, did not have a good playoff run. He was okay, for the most part, but did not perform well in the finals. Did not have a great series outside of the Minnesota Timberwolves series. Giannis, who I think personally second best player in the world, Giannis was hurt, but he also had a really good regular season. And Shea massively, he's 96 overall. Wow, it jumped over Embiid, which I thought that's a massive jump for Shea.
Big leap.
It's interesting with Jokic that Jokic just won his third MVP in 4 years and was great in the playoffs, and it's just somehow brought him down, a decibel in the rankings or in terms of a 98 to a 97. But I guess they view that all three players are in the same tier, and I don't personally agree with that. I just think Jokic has the least amount of flaws in this game and probably has the highest peak of all these players as well. Well, not probably does. He does. So I would have had Jokic at a 98 and everybody else kind of fall in suit. But the top five international, man, with the clear delineation between Joel Embiid and LeBron James, the game's changed and the international community is definitely taking over.
It is interesting. I didn't notice that until you pointed it out. International top five, national 6 through 10. And you've got a clear gap there between now the U.S. obviously did win the gold medal and they look dominant in a lot of ways, but Jokic nearly brought them back. Shea was doing great things for Team Canada. And I guess Joel, I guess he does also count for Team USA. I should make that clear before getting a whole bunch of people mad online. But yeah, Luka, the way that he finished the season, he had some good moments in the playoffs. He had some bad moments in the playoffs, obviously dealing with injury. Yeah. Giannis, like first round exit for the second year in a row. Second time it was focused on injury. He didn't actually finish the playoffs. He didn't even play in the playoffs this year. But that knocks you down, or at least it should knock you down. Jokic has been the most consistent over the course of these last 4 years. He's been undeniable over these last 4 years, and yet somehow still gets tied to other people.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a huge deal. I do look, people are going to be so whatever. I just think people have fatigue with Joker. If he had won the championships last year, then I think people would just be they'd be cool. But I think if Jokic, everybody's already down in this roster, Ryan, if they're a top 2 seed again, and it's damn, the Nuggets are really on pace to win 55 games again through All-Star break. They're battling Thunder for the number 1 seed. They don't have another player on the roster that's of his caliber. They lost KCP. He's going to be right back at the top of the league in the MVP conversation again. And I think people are just going to be, including maybe Jokic, just we're doing this again. And I just think it's weird. When Jordan did it and LeBron did it, it was just all right, whatever. But I think LeBron had 2 titles on his resume before he won his 4th.
Yeah.
So I think that could be a part of it too. But, maybe this is just a year. Jokic gets your other title, get another MVP. But I just think Jokic is going to be soaring through the league again. But I think Luka, Giannis, SGA, and Embiid, I think they all can have really incredible seasons this year, pending health.
It probably will. One thing I want to get back to on that, there's been a hesitancy around the NBA community or just different parts of the NBA community where to give Jokic the full credit that it's Joker's League, that it has been Joker's League over the course of these last few years. I feel like he's proven that. I feel like his consistency and what he's provided, 3 MVPs and a championship over the course of the last 4 years, that should be considered him being in a league of his own. But there has been a hesitancy. There's been a crowning of other people. There's a list that I saw earlier today that said Anthony Edwards was the best player in the NBA, or at least one person was brave enough to say that. And it's just bizarre. It's been bizarre to see that. You see a lot of people put Luka and Giannis in the same tier. And I feel like he's earned that by himself. but maybe other people don't. And then that's sort of why we're seeing the pushback.
We just saw a center in game 7. What did Jokic have? 34 and 19, and then that same series in game 5, he had 40 points and 13 assists with 0 turnovers.
Yeah.
And I've tried to stress this to people the last year and a half or so, Ryan, that we've never in NBA history had a player be in the conversation for the best scorer in the league, best playmaker in the league, best passer in the league, and best rebounder in the league. That's never happened before. When people brought up Wilt was not this level passer. No. Shout out to my dog Chill. He was not. No. Even honestly, Wilt as a scorer, Wilt was an elite scorer, but Wilt was similar to Shaq and Giannis. He was just super dominant at the rim. And then obviously Wilt was an incredible rebounder. But you're just not going to get all of that, which is what makes Joker so tantalizing, is that at all times you have to be worried about just somebody with this apex value at these really important parts of the game, including playing hard and screening and everything that make him what he is. And so I just think that Joker is going to need one more really, truly dominant run like he did in 23, and hopefully that happens this year. And I think that's where people are like, bro, this is obviously one of the 10 to 8 best players we've ever seen before.
It would be nice to see. That would round it out to a full 5 years of him being at that level. And nobody's really ever done that before outside of maybe LeBron and MJ. So
right.
it's
Magic and Bird, to be fair, did have a stretch in there. I had to do a ranking, by the way. This is kind of a tidbit. I had to do a Bird versus Magic discussion, bro. And Bird, for a 5-season period, he finished no less than 3rd in MVP race. He finished 1st 3 straight times. And I want to say he averaged 26, 10, and 6 on 50, 40, 90, dang near.
Sick. It's he is grossly underrated by the modern sort of discourse. He's been great. Shout out to Larry Bird. That's why people, when Joker got those comps, it was such a big deal.
Right.
And a lot of people pushed back on it initially. Now Joker's actually making it a thing. Rest of this list, 6 through 10,
yeah.
you had some takes on one Jason Tatum.
Are you turning me into the bad guy? I've just been consistent. I think Kevin Durant is better than Jason Tatum this year. I think LeBron James is better than Jason Tatum. I think Anthony Davis and Jason Tatum are in the same league. I wouldn't have had Steph Curry here based off this last year. No disrespect to Steph. He was great in the Olympics. 3rd most important player on the team, if not 2nd. But I just think Steph was kind of over the hill this last season. I would have Jason Tatum around 8. I would have Kevin Durant probably at 6 or 7. LeBron at 6 or 7. And then I would have Anthony Davis at about 9. And then at that 10 spot, then you start getting a little tricky with who I would put there. But look, I don't think, Ryan, that you can be in the Olympic setting next to all these American players. And then when it comes to winning time and when the dogs are out and when you need somebody to make plays, that Tatum was nowhere to be seen. And you're somehow the best player, in your country. That's just not the way it works. So I think there's an apex in the NBA. And I think there's a pecking order in the NBA. And I think players know that and coaches know it. And when time came for winning time to happen, it was LeBron, it was KD, and it was Steph. And I don't think that's going to change much this year.
It's interesting to see it that way, and I think it's completely fair. Is there a player that's outside of the top 10 now that you would potentially rank in that top 10?
Ooh, man. I'm trying to think who I haven't even finished my list yet, but I know Donovan Mitchell's going to have an argument. Jalen Brunson's going to have an argument. Tyrese Halliburton, I've seen some people have him top 10, which
that's a little high. That's high.
Well, it depends on. It's just I think their arguments they're all his offense even post January they never fell off from best ever. Donovan Mitchell, man, I really have to think about that. Kind of how I slotted things this year. But
Anthony Edwards, Devin Booker.
That's tough, man. Anthony Edwards was 13 All-NBA for me in the regular season.
Interesting.
So was his playoffs impressive enough to vault him up to 10? I don't know. I just don't know if he can dump like Donovan and Booker. Even Booker was really good. So we'll have to see, man. But Kawhi Leonard's even there. Kawhi Leonard when he's healthy is there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sort of out on Kawhi at this point. I am out on the Clippers at this point, and I'm sure that will come back to bite me. But I just don't think that there's any reason to really have faith in them going forward. And Kawhi and his health is part of that. So you got to knock him at some point. But then you see some of these other guys not getting knocked for their health either. So pretty interesting. pretty interesting to see where this list ultimately came out for 2K.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But like I said, about 2 months from now, this whole thing's gonna look a lot different. So it's always fun to talk about this in the off season. I do love the split, the fact that it's international, and then there's U.S. born players that are in the second column. So we'll find out, man. With the international game, might be here to stay at the top of the league.
Let us know in the comments, who would you rank in the top 10? Is Joker in a league by himself, or is he in a league with some other folks? We will find out. He's Swipa. I'm Ryan. We're out.